You mentioned receiving a beautifully written manual for a product that doesn't work, or using a system that nobody knows how to maintain. Neither scenario leads to happy customers or teams. That's why Agile's second value, working products and services over comprehensive documentation, guides us towards balance between these two extremes. This value is often misunderstood. Some think it's a license to skip documentation entirely, while others feel it devalues the critical knowledge needed to provide ongoing support. Both views miss the point. The real message is simple: prioritize what delivers value to customers, functional, reliable solutions, and ensure essential documentation supports them effectively. Customers want products and services that work, and supporting those solutions long term requires just enough accurate, accessible documentation that describes the critical aspects of the solution. The goal isn't to choose one over the other, it's knowing what to document, when, and how much. Think of documentation as a safety net. Without it, troubleshooting becomes guesswork, maintenance gets risky, and knowledge transfer slows to a crawl. On the other hand, spending excessive time on perfect documentation delays delivery and wastes effort, especially when priorities inevitably change. The key is balance. So, how do we strike the right balance? Start by treating documentation as part of your iteration deliverables. Capture core details during implementation when knowledge is fresh and accurate. Waiting for later often means it never gets done or becomes a low priority task overshadowed by other demands. Avoid creating documentation prior to implementation by a separate team in parallel or after release, as these approaches often result in inaccuracies. These could include describing expected functionality that is never implemented or gets changed midstream without documentation being updated. These gaps can lead to misaligned expectations, frustrated teams, and costly delays. By building documentation alongside implementation, these risks are mitigated and alignment improves. And there's a new tool that can now significantly improve our ability to abide by this value: AI. As you document alongside implementation, use AI to assist in creating accurate, consistent, and context specific documentation. Modern AI tools can quickly generate summaries, diagrams, or even user facing content based on your notes or code bases in the case of software. This not only saves time, but also ensures your documentation evolves alongside your products and services. In some cases, your team's efforts can shift from creating documentation to reviewing and refining AI generated outputs, saving significant time and effort. This freed up capacity can then be prioritized towards building and improving the solution itself, ensuring your team stays focused on delivering maximum value to customers. Here's a practical approach that eliminates the need for polished writing skills from the team members documenting the work. Focus on creating essential documentation. Ask yourself, what are the key decisions, implementation details, and support requirements? Use a lightweight format, bullet points, diagrams, or brief notes. Think of this as a skeleton that can be fleshed out later by a technical writer or an AI if needed. Let implementation teams own this process. They're closest to the work and naturally capture accurate details that others might miss. And leverage AI to assist with documentation. Use tools like AI driven content generators to automate parts of the documentation process. AI can enhance clarity, adapt to your audience, and even help identify gaps. The goal of following this approach is to create just enough documentation to support your product and service while leaving room to enhance it over time, if needed. The benefits of documentation go beyond post release support. Documenting what you're building as you're building it validates your understanding, reveals hidden issues during implementation, and gives others an early opportunity to review and comment before release. And when you leverage AI, you enable teams to produce more robust documentation while staying focused on delivering value. However, It's important to give AI explicit instructions on how extensive the documentation should be. Without clear guidelines, you risk generating excessive documentation that no one has the time or bandwidth to review, defeating the purpose of creating concise, valuable, and actionable documentation. So let's break this into four key takeaways to achieve a balanced approach. Prioritize working solutions. This is what customers care most about. Integrate documentation into your iterations. Don't defer it until later or leave it entirely to a separate team. Capture essentials during implementation. Focus on creating valuable, practical documentation, not perfect documentation. Leverage AI to assist with documentation. As you implement, use AI to create right sized, tailored documentation for internal or external needs. By applying these principles, you avoid the extremes of no documentation or overly comprehensive documentation. Customers get reliable solutions that meet their needs, and your team retains the knowledge required to sustain and improve those solutions. If documentation has felt like a burden in your organization or failed to deliver its usefulness, here's a simple standing point: add documentation checkpoints to your iterations. Focus on capturing the bare minimum that's useful now and build a habit of documenting as you go. Over time, this habit, especially when combined with AI tools, not only improves efficiency, but also fosters trust and transparency across teams. Here's my challenge for you: says how your team currently approaches documentation. Are you striking the right balance or leaning too far in one direction? Have you tried using AI to enhance your documentation? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your insights might inspire others. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more insights on building adaptive, resilient organizations in the era of AI. Thanks for watching.